So we all know there is a shortage with semaglutide and tirzepatide, but do you know that there are some people who are getting it and you're not quite sure where they're getting it from? Well, let's talk about it. Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Meghan. I am a board certified physician in internal medicine, lifestyle medicine, and obesity medicine. And this channel is your trusted source for evidence-based answers to your weight questions. So let's talk today about compounded semaglutide and compounded tirzepatide. Now, maybe there is compounded liraglutide. I haven't really heard about that, but I'm sure it's out there if you were looking for it. So compounding is when a pharmacist or a physician remakes a medication specifically for an individual patient's needs. So this is particularly important in case of allergies or if a patient is not able to tolerate the drug. So let's say a medication had lactose in it or a specific dye and the patient really couldn't take that medication. A compounding pharmacy could recreate that medication without those ingredients in some circumstances. So it really is helpful for these one-off cases where a patient really needs something tailored just for them and they really need this specific medication. Much of the laws about compounding come from the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act that was put into place in the 1930s. And this regulates the production, the sale, and the distribution of food, drug, medical devices, and cosmetics. And the whole purpose of this act is to protect the general public from changed or misbranded products. It was made in the spirit of patient and consumer safety. And you can check out my list of references if you want to do a deeper dive on this. If you're interested, I highly recommend it. And according to the FDA, according to Section 503A, a pharmacist or a compounding facility really should not be making copies available of a commercially available drug. The whole point of compounding is to tailor something specifically to a patient that they really can't get commercially. However, there is this gray area if there is a shortage of the medication. And certainly there is a shortage of semaglutide and tirzepatide. So the FDA does not consider a medication to be commercially available if there is a shortage of that medication. So there is this gray area where there is some, technically there may be some legal wiggle room on if a medication like semaglutide or tirzepatide can be compounded because there is a shortage, even though the spirit of the compounding isn't to remake something specifically for an individual patient here that they couldn't get commercially. It's really to satisfy a commercial need when there isn't as much available in the FDA approved form. Now, the whole problem is that when you get a medication that is compounded, it's not FDA approved. There's no oversight like there would be, like if you pick up a pen of Mounjaro at the pharmacy, that's gone through a lot of really rigorous development, testing, and regulations to make sure the product you are getting, that specific pen, has met all those requirements and is safe for you to use. Now, compounded medications, they are really directly from the pharmacy to the patient. So there is no regulation in the middle in terms of, what a drug would usually have in terms of FDA requirements for safety or efficacy. Now, you would hope that anybody who is compounding medication would have sterile equipment, sterile ingredients, the right ingredients, but you really can't be sure. So it's important that patients are aware that the products that are sold as semaglutide, they may just not have the exact same active ingredient as the FDA-approved semaglutide products. So they may be built from a salt of semaglutide, and we really just don't know if that's as safe or as effective because that wasn't the exact formulation that was studied. Now that's on top of the fact that there are innate safety concerns with compounding in general in terms of it not being as regulated. There were some very serious health issues for patients who received medications that were not properly or safely created. So as a patient, how do you know that the medication that you're getting is FDA approved or compounded? Well, it should be extremely, extremely obvious, because on one end, if it's FDA approved, you are going to CVS, Walgreens, wherever, and you are getting the prepackaged form of Wegovy or Ozempic. There's no generic available, or Mounjaro. You're picking up that pre-filled pen. Compounded medications are like somebody would go to a wellness spa and somebody would directly inject them with this medication. Usually they're paying out of pocket for it, and you're not getting that pen that was developed specifically by the original pharmaceutical companies. You're just getting something injected into you. If you're getting anything in an unmarked syringe or package that is not directly from the pharmaceutical company, then it's probably compounded. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say, and they're going to say, well, these medications are so helpful for people, and can't these compounding pharmacies just bridge the gap? And I think that is a really, I can understand where they're coming from, certainly, because these are great medications. However, when we talk about compounded medications in terms of semaglutide or tirzepatide, we don't know if that specific formulation is safe or effective. So I don't think it's a good idea, and I tell all my patients that, because the other thing is, if you're working with a physician who has been doing obesity medication for a while, there are certain workarounds. Like we all know there's a shortage. We get it. We're very aware. And so there are things we can do. There are other medications we can use. There are other ways we can kind of bridge that gap. But the reality is that these shortages are probably going to be around for a very long time, because these medications, they work so well. There are a lot of people that want to be on them. So I hate to say it, but I think these medication shortages are something that we should just learn how to weather and learn how to manage in a safe and effective way that doesn't put anybody's health at greater risk. So my takeaway here is that it's really important to take a look at the long view, because we are really just getting started with these new weight loss medications. We have great options, and we're going to have even better options in the future. And so these medication shortages are likely going to be something that we're dealing with for a very long time. Now, this is also a reason why, even if you are on a medication for weight loss, we still can't forget about the importance of lifestyle changes, because always those are something that you as a patient can control. So even if you're on Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro, don't forget about how important it is in terms of eating healthy, exercising, sleeping well, staying hydrated. Those are all really important, and you have control over those. Overall, it's just really not worth sacrificing your health for short-term gains for anything. I mean, weight loss is really about the long game and what's sustainable. So in the same way that crash diets aren't a great idea, it's really important to seek out medications that are safe, effective, and FDA approved. And even if there is a shortage, work with your physician to find a bridge or some sort of interim solution, and don't put your health at risk. I'm not fear-mongering here, but I think it's really important to know that you have other options, and please talk to your physician about what those options could look like for you. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, my references will be listed down below, and please be well.